Okay, trying this again. I am using titanium white, cobalt, 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 violet hue, and burnt umber. I'm applying it on my canvas, and I'm trying to work really quick so that this stays wet for me to work with. Once I get it on the canvas, white in the middle, violet, then the burnt umber, I'm going to take my sponge and I'm going to dab to blend. I'm going to keep going around and around until I'm happy with how it looks. Now, if your paint starts getting too sticky, it's not going to blend, and it will start to lift the paint off your canvas, which it is going to start doing to me here very soon. If that starts to happen, let it dry. You can apply more color and do more blending. And I had way too much water on my sponge, and you can see right there, over in the upper left there, where it started to pull the color up. So I'm getting to where I need to stop. I just can't make myself, but I need to stop so that I can let it dry and go back and fix it. And that is what I am about to do. Let it dry and come back. Okay, so I've let it dry. Now I'm coming back with more color, the violet hue, some white, and I'm trying to overlap the colors so that it blends smoothly and there aren't harsh transitions. Again, I apologize for the lighting. There is such a glare, it's difficult even for myself to see what I'm doing. Drying. Blow dryers are great. On a cool setting, the wind or the air that it makes is what helps it to dry, not the heat. So you don't want to sit there and hold it on and blast it, or your paint can definitely bubble. So I am quite satisfied with how my background has turned out. And now I'm going to mark 3 dots on where I want my flowers to be and start painting in the petals using the titanium white. And I believe it is a 1/2 inch angle brush. Maybe not quite as big as a 1/2 inch, but definitely bigger than a 1/4 inch. Flipping my canvas around till I feel comfortable so I can get the flower petals going the way I want to get them to go. On that step, you could also use a one-stroke method by half dipping. One half of your brush is, say, yellow and the other half is white. I didn't do that. Here, I'm using a very dry, stiff brush and just tapping in the pollen centers of the flowers. Then I go back and I add a little white, a little yellow, some green, keeping it darkest towards the petals of the flowers. Now I'm taking some black and my Hansen yellow, and I'm mixing it together to make a green, because my last painting I just really wasn't happy with the greens that come in the tubes, and I probably have 3 or 4 different good colors that I paid a hefty price for, being artist quality paint, and they look like they came out of the box of crayons. I just don't like them. So I learned this trick from someone in a Facebook group. I had asked a question. I was really struggling with my greens. Actually, I think I asked a question on browns, and they were helping me out with the browns, and then gave me this tip on the greens where you're mixing the black and the yellow, and wow, what a difference. I mean, if you use like yellow ochre with it, you get more of an olive type army green, and but the Hansen yellow, or even a cad yellow with the black makes some really pretty greens. And then you know, darken it with a little more black, lighten it with a little more yellow, add a little white to it, you know, until you get the color that you want. But I'm going to add in so many different colors, just nothing strategic really about what I'm doing here. I mean, because the light source is kind of behind the flowers, so, you know, it's not coming in from the right, it's not coming in from the left, so I'm just kind of placing it at the same time trying to get my shadows and my lights to where it gives my stems some dimension, you know, like where one crosses over. So where it crosses over behind it, I add a little bit of dark for a shadow, add a little bit of light to the top of it to help it pop out and give it some dimension. So I'm adding some white, got a little heavy, throw some green on it. Trying to blend it in. I'm going to throw in some burnt umber into it. I'm going to put some white on it. The only color that I did not use again, and I'm not sure why, but I didn't, was my violet. I probably could have put a little violet into the stems and the flowers themselves, but the violet kind of shows through the petals, so yeah, I guess you could say it's in there. So now I want to add a little color into my petals. Now you would think that I could leave well enough alone, but no, I have to fiddle. So I'm adding some yellow, and I decided the lighting was making this glare that I can't see. So I had to lift it up a little bit. That's why it's out of your view. But so I added the yellow, and it was too stark, so I'm dulling it down a little with some white, trying to blend it in a little better so it's not so stark and harsh. And I'm going to add some of the burnt umber to the petals closest to the pollen. I'm going to add a little green, very little green, just a little bit. Way too much yellow on that one. Back in with the white, mellow it out. The brush I'm using is really tiny. It can't be, oh gosh, maybe an eighth of an inch wide. Kind of a, not really a flat. I don't know, I've used this little brush so much it probably used to be a flat, and now it's more like a bright, a little thicker. But with smaller brushes, I feel like I have more control of what's going on. Some people can get in there and just paint with giant brushes and come up with these really awesome, awesome paintings. But still being a intermediate beginner, it's still in the learning process. I have tons of, not tons, but I have a lot of different brushes, and this particular painting I used 6 different brushes on, plus my sponge. And another hint, when you're setting up your palette, I find that I don't paint fast enough before my paint starts to dry out. So I picked up a plastic tray from Dollar Tree, and I put a paper towel down and pour some water on that, and use a piece of wax paper over top of that. And just enough moisture seems to come through the wax paper to help keep your paint wet. And that helps me a lot. I don't waste so much paint. So here I've added some more yellow and a little bit of white to the pollen center, and I'm adding the burnt umber into the flowers. I'm not even rinsing my brush as I do this. I just keep picking up little tiny dabs of the different colors of the paint and trying to blend them in. And I was going to call these daisies, but I'm not sure that I would call them a daisy because of the way I did the center of the flower. They kind of look like a hybrid daisy, black-eye Susie. You know, I'm not a flower buff, but I like flowers, and I love to see butterflies come and visit them. Maybe that's what this painting needs. Maybe it needs a little butterfly visiting one of those flowers. I'll have to look into that. So we're finished. Flipped it so you can see it's right side up.